Hey everybody, what's happening and welcome to Dad Play. And more importantly, if this is your first time on the channel or first time watching one of my videos, welcome to Decentraland. In just over 5 minutes today, I'm going to give you a complete rundown and a new player's guide to Decentraland to dispel some common myths, let you know exactly what you're getting into, and give you some pointers about how to get around and how to make the most of your first time experience in Decentraland. So, first and foremost, we're just going to start the timer off now. Let's get 5 minutes on the clock. So, the first things you're going to need to know is when you jump in, you're always going to come to Genesis Plaza when you load up. This is a starting area where you'll see behind me some lists about events and crowds. But before we get started, the first thing that I want to make sure is that you've seen your tutorial. Now, if you haven't had the tutorial immediately load up, you can press escape on your keyboard, which will unlock your cursor. You can come down to 3 dots down here and go straight into your tutorial. That's going to get you started off and let you know how to navigate. Now, there are some extra things down here that might be useful to you. If you press U on your keyboard or hit hide UI, that's going to give you a flat screen without any icons on it at all. Similarly, if you come down, you can switch everything to night mode if that looks better for you and is more friendly to your eyes. And there is C as a shortcut on your keyboard, which is going to bring up your controls just to remind you in case you've forgotten anything. Certain things that I think are very useful immediately is if you want to hide player names, you can press N. You will definitely be using V to switch between your views quite a lot. And then you have your backpack and your inventory. In a moment we'll get onto the map as well because that is useful. So without further ado, let's jump straight into your inventory and I'll talk you through this. So one of the first things you're going to want to do when you get into Decentraland is customize your avatar. You can go through, you can pick out whatever you want to wear here, and eventually as you start getting more into the community you will unlock some collectibles. I do have videos about wearables, so I do recommend that you check those out and just give those your time if you want to know how you go about getting them, because I'm not going to cover them in today's video. Now, alternatively, if you do hear lots of people talking and it is quite overwhelming, you can come over here to your map, you can mute anybody in the scene that you want to, and more about scenes in just a moment. Or alternatively, if you really don't want people talking, you can come over to your settings, audio, down to your voice chat, and you can switch it over to friends or verified users, and then that will stop people from interrupting you. Now, bottom left corner very quickly is your friends list where you can add people and send them direct messages via a whisper. You have your chat window here where you can type messages, or you have your talk here which indicates you've got a microphone activated, and you can use the T on your keyboard to switch between push to talk, or you can have it open all the time. I do recommend that you don't have it open all the time because that is what does annoy people if you're playing music or just constantly talking or it's picking up background noise. So do consider that when you're here. So Decentraland, as I mentioned, is not a game in itself. This is a community, and the best way of describing that is by looking over at the map here. If we press M on the keyboard, it will expand your map up so you can see everything that's going on. Now, each of these little squares is what we call a scene, and the scene is essentially a piece of virtual land that somebody may or may not have purchased, and it may or may not have user generated content on it. So this one that we've picked at random, although it's a grey box, it does actually have something as a screenshot that you can see on it. Now, all of these yellow circles with the stars in are different bits of verified content. Generally the big boxes mean that they've all been grouped together, like for example here this is creating more of a art valley, like a convention centre, or like a valley of different scenes all linked together with the same common purpose. Similarly though, so you see there are art galleries here. You can come down here to things like MetaZoo. Now MetaZoo is an events venue, so they will host events on a weekly basis. Or you can come over to something like Battle Racers or Golfcraft, and these are both games. So this is why when I talk about Decentraland, it isn't just a game in itself, it's a platform, it's a metaverse community world that you can explore and you can see what is there. To get to any of these locations, all you simply have to do is click on one of them and then come down to jump in, or alternatively to go straight from your main area here, you just come down here to explore, where upon the places here you'll see all of the most common trending scenes. So you can jump straight into, say, Wonder Mine crafting game where there are 232 players, and you can view info about what these different scenes or these different events or these different experiences are. Under under the events, it's going to tell you everything that's up and coming, and these are official events that creators have notified you about via Decentraland. So here we just looked at MetaZoo, and you can see they've got an event in 5 days time which you can view info about, identify that you want to go, and you can jump straight in from there. So in a very, very broad nutshell, that is what Decentraland is all about. This is a exploration platform. It's all user generated content. It's stuff that one day might look a certain way and then another day it will look completely different. So I do encourage you to get out there and explore, and now we're just at the end of the 5 minutes. I'm just going to jump down and show you what it looks like to explore, because although we're going slightly over time as promised, it is something that I think is worthwhile. So when you jump down from Genesis Plaza, this is just going to take you out into the main environment, and it really is as simple as you just run and the world will generate around you. The big buildings that you see here are either going to be official constructs made by Decentraland, or you'll get out into people's scenes and you'll see what they've created. So as you run around, you'll see some blocked off areas here, which is where the scene hasn't been published, and in fact, let's just jump to a random area. We'll jump over here, 2521. Let's see what's over here. Now, quite often when you jump in, it might be completely unpopulated. There's nothing there at all, and that will become really obvious to you because the whole area will just look overgrown and there won't be anything there. Or alternatively, you might find some stuff in unpublished scenes that are actually really quite fun, like little games or little puzzles, or certainly experiencing people's artwork or content creators' content that they've uploaded. Now, what I will say to you is, as you go through here, you'll need to be aware of the way that currency works. So currency in Decentraland is using the mana token. There are 2 blockchains it operates on, the Ethereum one and the Polygon one. If you don't know much about that at the moment, I really do seriously suggest that you go and do some investigation into things like NFTs and understanding how blockchains work, because that will make a lot more sense before you consider dropping money on anything. But just as a final recap then, you can see here, this is all overgrown area. There's nothing on here, but over in the distance we can see, if you look from like a top down view, you can see the square. It's very clear that that's one of the squares that we've got on here that we're talking about. We're probably looking at this one right here, 2819, called Dragonfly. So we can go into Dragonfly's scene here, and it's clearly set up like a kid's playground, with lots of different things here. But then this one's vastly different, which is created by Momus Collection. So this is quite an obscure and quite weird and wonderful scene that we can go through and have a look at. And again, we've got something here where you can sit or you can socialize. So a lot of stuff here, it is really down for you to go and explore, go and see what there is. Things like this are more of an experience or like an exhibit that you can go and have a look around in, whereas you will get things like Wonder Mine, which are distinctively games that have a way of playing and normally play to earn rewards. So that is everything from me. I don't want to take too much of your time today, but if this sort of content is useful to you, that is what Dab Play is all about. So I release videos every Tuesday and Friday, and they're either going to be guides or reviews about something. They're either going to be tips or tricks about gameplay, or I might be doing a feature of a content creator or an area within Decentraland. Quite often I will do things like exploration videos where I'll just jump into some scenes and start running around and exploring to try and find some things that maybe you haven't seen that you might think that you want to come and check out. There will be reviews and of events that have happened, so certainly do check out some of those, but I do recommend you spend some time just going through my playlist. It is growing rapidly every week, but what I will say is things like your guide to wearables and POAPs is something that you definitely need to look at, because that's going to be really important to you if you do want to get your hands on anything like these sorts of wearables at events. And again, if you go to some of the events videos, you'll see what it looks like and how you can partake in those. Now, my channel is very much community orientated. I do it for the love of growing a positive vibe and a positive community around Decentraland. I think this place is absolutely incredible. I really enjoy myself here quite often, so it is really down to me to help try and promote that content. Now, if there is something like a game guide that you would like to see, or you'd like to ask some questions and I haven't got videos about them already, then please do head over to Twitter. My Twitter handle is @dabplay, as you'll see on the end screen. Drop me a DM and let me know what it is that you're after, and I will see if I can help you out and do something as part of a request. Also, the other thing I will say is make sure that when you do like and subscribe, come over to Twitter anyway. If you're part of the first 1,000 subscribers to my channel, come over, follow the instructions in the pinned tweet, and get yourself into the 1K club. Now, the 1K club, you'll get yourself an NFT membership card, and that is for the first 1,000 subscribers. Now, being part of that club is it's going to be a privilege, because this channel is growing on a weekly basis, and the 1K club members get giveaways at 100, 250, 500 and 1,000 subscribers, as well as any future giveaways. There will be explicitly different and more exclusive items for the 1K club, as well as everybody else as the channel grows. Now, if that's something that you're quite interested in, it is quite an exciting project. There are lots of collaborations going on, so I do recommend you come over and check that out. But for now, thank you very much for your time, and thanks for watching the video today. Like and subscribe if you feel that this has been valuable to you, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy the metaverse, and thanks for watching.